The Russian Federation decisively condemns the ongoing raids on the sovereign territory of Syria and views them as a flagrant violation of the sovereignty and territorial integrity of that state. We're of the view that such aggressive actions by Israel are designed to further fuel the conflict.
Yesterday, the Iranian diplomatic premises in Damascus, Syria, were hit by an airstrike, causing the death of 7 Iranian personnel and severe damage to the premises. This is a grave violation of the UN Charter and international law, and a breach of the sovereignty of both Syria and Iran. This attack is of an extremely vicious nature. China strongly condemns this attack. 25 years ago, China's embassy in Yugoslavia was bombed by a US-led NATO airstrike.
Madam President, the Russian Federation decisively condemns the ongoing raids on the sovereign territory of Syria and views them as a flagrant violation of the sovereignty and territorial integrity of that state. We're of the view that such aggressive actions by Israel are designed to further fuel the conflict. They're absolutely unacceptable and must stop. We urge West Jerusalem to abandon the practice of provocative acts of force on the territory of Syria and other neighboring countries, which is fraught with extremely dangerous risks and consequences for the entire region, a region that is already destabilized as the result of the 6-month escalation of violence around Gaza. We call on the international community to unequivocally condemn Israel's reckless actions, which violate the sovereignty of the Syrian Arab Republic and the inviolability of diplomatic property. We consider it necessary for all responsible members of the international community to provide an objective legal assessment of Israel's aggression in the Middle East, which ignores not only the provisions of the UN Charter and relevant resolutions of the Security Council and the General Assembly, but also the fundamental principles of the Vienna Conventions on Diplomatic and Consular Relations. Colleagues, I am counting on the solidarity of the members of the Council regarding the fact that attacks on diplomatic institutions are unacceptable. After all, if we do not reaffirm this position of solidarity, next time the diplomatic mission of any state could be targeted by an air raid. We trust that each of you today will give a fair assessment to Israel's actions against the Iranian diplomatic mission. I thank you.
Madam President, yesterday, the Iranian diplomatic premises in Damascus, Syria, were hit by an airstrike, causing the death of 7 Iranian personnel and severe damage to the premises. This is a grave violation of the UN Charter and international law, and a breach of the sovereignty of both Syria and Iran. This attack is of an extremely vicious nature. China strongly condemns this attack. 25 years ago, China's embassy in Yugoslavia was bombed by a US-led NATO airstrike, resulting in personnel casualties and damage to the embassy. We feel the grief and pain of the Iranian government and people, and express our deepest sympathy and condolences to the Iranian government and people. In accordance with the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations and the universally recognized basic norms governing international relations, the safety and security of diplomatic missions is inviolable. To allow impunity for such reckless acts that lack any baseline would send a seriously wrong signal and would encourage even more risky acts. We take note of the solemn protests and condemnations against Israel raised by Iran, Syria, and other Arab countries. We hope that Israel will respond to them. Madam President, since the Gaza conflict broke out in October last year, we have witnessed attacks on homes, attacks on schools, attacks on hospitals, attacks on humanitarian facilities, attacks on UN agencies, and today, attacks on diplomatic premises. The red line of international law and the basic norms of international relations has been breached time and again, and the moral bottom line of human conscience has been crushed time and again. Such a situation and such a tragedy must stop immediately.
The aim of such an act, deliberate act, is obvious. Responding to international pressures by escalating the conflict, which prolonged the killing of Palestinians for internal political calculation. It is evident that this dangerous act is of nature to draw the entire region into conflict, reflecting a belief of impunity by the Israeli occupying power, which considers itself above international law, akin to a reckless and checkered forces. This double standard, where the Israeli power disregard the very laws expecting order to uphold, undermines the very foundation of our international order.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the like button and press the bell icon so you don't miss any of our videos.